Alright guys, so here we go. This is video 1 of my YouTube tutorials, I guess you can call them. Forgive me if I stutter at some point or it sounds like my brain shut down, because it probably is. But anyways, this first one I just wanted to get through and show you all the software that you need to get all this stuff to work right. Without these programs, you're pretty much screwed. So, and then I'll give you a basic rundown of the workbook as well. But first and foremost, Modio 3.0. It's basically your main thing you need here. I mean, this is what gets the Xbox saves on your PC, so you can extract them, read them, put them back on, all that good stuff. So Modio 3.0, super important to get the 3.0. I guess we've had issues with other versions, but 3.0s work flawlessly for me, so that's what you want. Another one, HXD. It's a hex editor. Now, don't be scared with the hex editing part. It's super simple. One of the easiest things you can do, even though it's just a bunch of numbers and letters. So that will actually allow the Xbox to read the game again, because if you don't, every time you make a edit on these saves, it switches up the header or whatever it's called. I don't even know what it's called, but one of the first couple lines, which basically says it's a different file, and then if the Xbox sees that, you're screwed. So we'll have to fix that. But that's super easy. But HXD is super important. Ncaa Dynasty Editor, again, very important. This is from Ncaa. He created this thing. Mad props to him. I wish he was still around more. But anyways, this thing is what you export your Dynasty rosters, regular rosters, recruits, all that stuff into CSV format that allows my workbook to actually do what it does. Without this, we'd be totally screwed. So Dynasty Editor version 1, it's under the Ncaa football rosters on the forum. Snag this up, it's awesome. And then this one I just threw in there. You don't necessarily need the generic EA roster editor to do anything in particular other than edit the coaching skills. Now that's up to you. I've already done it for the roster that you're going to put on, but as you know, seasons go along, you're definitely going to have coaches get more skills. So if you want to go at the end of the year and zero those out again, you can using this editor. A little bit more confusing. It's not really hard. It's just the stuff is in short abbreviations, which a lot of them don't make sense. I've made a few config files that have a lot of stuff named for you to make it easier, but it's still not as easy as some of the other stuff. But anyways, if you want it, it's always something good to have. This is how you mess with the profile saves and different things like that. I know a few of you guys were interested in adjusting the passing stuff that Khalib had mentioned before. So this is what you're going to want to use to do that type of stuff. So those are your main 4 pieces of software you need. Obviously you need Excel or something that can read those type files to run my workbook. So that's, if you don't have that, you're kind of screwed there too. So what my workbook is, it's just an Excel it's an Excel workbook. We got 4 tabs here at the bottom. You got your ratings range scale. That's basically the meat and potatoes of all this stuff. This is where all the information, or at least probably 95 to 99% of the information that my formulas point to are going to point to this page right here. So this is also where you're going to, if you want to say, oh, screw the edits you guys have made, I want to do my own edits and stuff like that, this is where you're going to do those type edits. I got them broken down by all the different attributes. There's, I think, 2 or 3 that aren't in here. Jump, what is it? Jump, spectacular catch. I think that might be it. Because the way I did those formulas, I didn't need a table in here to do that with. I just wrote a separate formula that kind of just pointed some other stuff here and there. So if you want to edit those attributes, you pretty much can't do it from this section right here. You'd have to go and do it a different way. So hopefully you don't have to edit those attributes, because it would kind of be a pain in the ass, and if you don't have much knowledge with this stuff, you wouldn't want to mess with the workbook too much. But I'll try to get a little closer here. See, like right there it says awareness, original number, new number. Those are the only things that are important when it comes to how these formulas work and what's going on. Basically, I don't know if you guys know what a VLOOKUP is. Essentially what it does is it looks up a certain value. So let's say we're looking at awareness here. So let's say the awareness value. It's going to look up the value, and then it's going to go in this table right here. Okay, and it's going to look at the first column right here, and so say, okay, if it was 27 before, the new number is going to be a 27. Okay, so basically I have this one set up to be exactly as the way it is before. But what you can do is put any number you want to in the second column, and then whatever that first number was on the left, if that was their original rating, now their new rating is going to be over here. Hence the original number, new number. Nice little title I have up there. And that's basically the way it works. So if you wanted a guy that, had, scroll down over here, if you wanted a guy that had, 80 awareness to have 90 awareness now, you would just put the 90 right in that part right there, and any guy that had 80 awareness when you run the program is now going to have 90 awareness. Now, again, just to be clear with all this stuff, this is a mass global edit. There's no real position-specific stuff other than a few formulas that I wrote in, like I said, for jump, because we only have wide receivers and tight ends with a high rating, and then the rest of the guys have a low rating. And spectacular catch, that's the same thing. There's, I think, what's corners, wide receivers, tight ends, safety, stuff like that, and then the rest have 0. So there's a few specific attributes that are targeted towards specific positions. But for the most part, this is all global. So if you're messing with agility, you're going to mess with everybody's agility. If you're messing with vision, you're messing with everybody's vision. Awareness, everybody's awareness, so on and so forth. I just want to point out one other little really important thing with this workbook. Here we go. You see this little thing right here where it says number of player rows, 9,000, number of recruit rows, do not touch above cells used for macros. If anybody doesn't know what a macro is a little kind of like baby program that you run which makes do stuff automatically. I don't know if anybody has like those super advanced remote controls for the TV, but where you hit the one button, it turns on your TV, it turns on your Xbox, it sets the input for the TV, it turns on your receiver, it sets the input for the sound. It does it all with that one button because it's programmed in there. This right here, these numbers, if it'll focus, okay, these numbers play into those macros, so do not change them. If you mess with them or change them, it'll throw everything off. That basically tells you how many rows need to be copied to pump into the new CSV for each one. If you don't have enough rows, it's going to screw it up. If you have way too many rows, it doesn't matter at all because all those rows are zeroed out and the thing doesn't even read it. But those are basically the baseline of what I have. I haven't seen anything ever go over that, so I just want to be better safe than sorry. But bottom line, don't touch that stuff. Anyways, all this other stuff is just ratings all the way across. I mean, let's click over here. I know my phone keeps focusing in and out here, but the color coding things don't mean anything. The percentage mark right there, and then the little number sign in front of that. Those are just things I used on my original workbook. I didn't want to delete everything out just in case I wanted to go back to running things by percentages, but those don't matter. Like I said, the only things that matter are the original number and the new number, because the original number is the original attribute number, and then the new number is the new attribute, or the original attribute rating. New number is the new attribute rating. That's how we want to go with it. So if you ever want to make any changes, whatever, you don't like something that you're seeing, makes it super easy to adjust once you figure out what you want to do. But let me go ahead and you just keep cycling over. Like I said, this is just all the attributes listed. There's even a few in there that might not be overly important, like importance and things like that. But I had that, like I said, in my old workbook, and I just kind of added to this. Now, if you get all the way to the end, there's a new one I added to it. It's called, right there if you can see it, Dynasty Progression Fixer. Now this one is what the formulas use to read how we're going to fix progression. Okay, we're not touching any of the progression or the stuff that we leave original. So speed, strength, throwing power, throwing accuracy, kick power, kick accuracy. I know there's more, I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but all those we're not touching. They progress, everything's fine. But to keep everything in line with the 31, 63, 95, 127 scale, and then also the 31, 63, 95 scale, I had to do a separate one right here because obviously the attributes are already going to be adjusted and they're only going to be a few off. So this is what the Dynasty Roster Progression Fixer is going to be reading from. I'll get to that stuff in a second too. Hopefully I'm being clear enough that you guys understand what I'm saying. I'm not trying to overwhelm you here. Anyways, so that's what that part is right there. Other than that, that's like I said, that's it with the ratings range scale. Now we have 3 more tabs right here. Players roster, that's going to be used to make your own roster. If you want to make your own roster, want to dive into that whole concept, I don't recommend it. It's sleepless nights, it racks your brain, whatever. But if you want to, by all means, that's where you're going to go. Now the last 2 are the main ones for Dynasty. So if you're going to run with the roster we So I guess I'll just go to Recruits Dynasty here. Recruits Dynasty. Now, if you look at this, there's not really a whole lot going on there. Okay, there's just the top 2 rows. FYI, for your information, those top 2 rows are very important. Never delete them. If you do, you've screwed yourself. Okay, this is where I have all my fancy little formulas we got run along in here. Okay, this is what's going to pull the information, or this is how the macros know what to pull from the Dynasty roster file, and also the recruit roster file, and also the player roster file. So each tab has these same things in the top rows here. There's the players tab, there's the Dynasty progression fix tab. Those top 2 rows, very, very important, very important. So don't mess with those. But these are the three things here that you're going to be working with. Mainly the recruits and Dynasty, unless you're running with your own roster, and then you would be doing the player roster, and then you only have to do that once, and then from then on out it would be recruits and Dynasty roster progression from there. One other thing I need to throw out, you guys, when I first started doing this, before I even really knew what macros were, which actually was only a couple weeks ago, you need this developer part right here. This is how you go into your macros and you end up running them. Now this tab usually isn't standardly set up on the Excel. So what I had to do is, and it's very, very easy, but you just go to File, you're going to run down to Options, and then within Options you want to go down to Customize Ribbon, and then here it is right here. It's usually already on there, it's just for me it was unchecked. Okay, so it didn't show up on there. So all I had to do was go in, check it, and then, okay, pretty obvious. And then voila, my developer tab was up there, and then my macros were up there. And again, this is how we're going to be getting all the information back into our thing. So that was the kind of rundown on what this workbook is and how it you know, kind of works. I didn't give you, you know, super detailed information, but that's how that goes. Now the next one I'm going to do is going to be basically taking it from your USB, putting it on your computer, doing all the stuff, taking it back off the computer, back to your USB, back to the Xbox, and how you do that. I'll do that with recruits. We'll also do that with a progression fix for the Dynasty. Technically, you can do them at the same time. Obviously, Season 1, you'll only have to do recruits, so you'll only be doing the recruits. Then the next season, I usually do it right after you go into recruits, and they basically populate the recruit database on the game. I'll save it right there onto my USB, plug it in, do my stuff. And I always recommend saving it to your hard drive on your Xbox and also your USB. That way if you do something stupid to mess up the file on your USB, which you shouldn't, because once it's saved your USB, I'll get into that later. I'm starting to trail on. But you just always have extra saves, always backup. That way, you know, I don't want you to be 6 seasons in, you're doing something, and then all of a sudden, oh crap, I messed up, and now I'm screwed. So there's tutorial 1 on what we got going on, and then I'll get the next one up here in just a little bit.